The 9 to 5 lifestyle is a drug that's meant to kill your dreams. There's no escaping that fact, and there's no running away from that truth. It is a dream killer, and that's what I'm going to be discussing today. For somebody that wants to fulfill their dreams and achievements in life, they're not meant to be constrained with within a certain time. That's what the 9 to 5 does to you. Society and the economical laws that has been put in and placed for hundreds of years have tricked us to try to let us think that working from a certain amount of hours during a certain amount of days in the week is what's going to allow us to have a fulfilled life. Now, I don't want to get too philosophical here and start saying things that may not really resonate and relate to you. But I am going to state an important fact that I think a lot of people around the world, people like me and you, the average Joes, and this is what my content is all about, relating to you, to push you, to help you connect with yourself, to connect with your society, to go into newer levels and newer heights in life. The idea that the 9 to 5 is the only way for somebody to have a fulfilled life is absolute bullshit. In fact, like I said in the beginning, the 9 to 5 timeline or the 9 to 5 working hours or the 9 to 5 lifestyle is an absolute dream killer, is a drug that's been given to you and to me to tell us that this is how life should be lived. This is how we're going to have the achievements we want. So, what is my problem with the 9 to 5 life? I don't have a problem per se with people that do 9 to 5 or the choice of having a 9 to 5 lifestyle, because I'm not dumb and I'm not naive. There are many jobs out there that require you to work from a specific set of hours. There's no escaping it. For you to start your career in any place, anywhere, for you to have some sort of income, some sort of money to just stand on your feet and pay the bills and take care of your family, you need a job. Most jobs have a set amount of hours per week, per day, which is a typical classical 9 to 5. But what I have a problem with is the idea that people propagate and say, and a lot of them are out there, especially from our parents or the people from the earlier decades, that say that the 9 to 5 is the most stable and sustainable life for you to live, to achieve your dreams and have a successful, meaningful, life in general. And I'm totally against that. That is wrong on so many levels, and that mentality is what actually holds many young people today, and many people like me and you, or me previously, and maybe you today, into thinking, is this the right way for me? You see, before I delve into the positives and negatives and what the 9 to 5 does to you, first of all, we live in a world that has an abundance of knowledge, abundance of information all over the place, and an abundance of ways of making money. There are so many different ways that people can achieve income and create wealth without sticking to a specific routine that they need to adhere to every single day and for the full week. Now is the time for you to do so many different things, for you to actually create for you a lifestyle that doesn't really stick with a certain time, right? So the options are there. That's number one. Number two, and I think this is a very important message that people need to hear. Maybe your dream is to work in a stable 9 to 5 job, and there's no shame in that, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And if that's something that suits you and suits what your needs for the current moment, that's your choice. That's good for you. You understand your situation and your circumstances better than anybody else. But if you're going to tell me, and if you're going to tell many people, or if you're going to advertise the fact that this is the most sustainable way to live and it's the most consistent way, then I'm just gonna have to stop you there and tell you bullshit. I can accept that you're willing to live this life because you made a decision that pertains to your circumstances and your context. But what I cannot accept is you advocating and saying that this should be the normality and the norm for people to have a fulfilled and sustained life. No fucking way. That's bullshit. That is not true. Right now, there are so many ways to make money, and there are so many ways to create income and wealth and generate wealth without sticking to a specific amount of hours in a day, or without having a job from a 9 to 5. Now, let me tell you personally my problem with the 9 to 5, especially for people, and I'm talking about here people, ambitious people that want to maybe create wealth, that maybe want to start a business, they want to have an entrepreneurial journey, right? The problem with having a 9 to 5 is that it's just so many hours wasted in a day. I mean, think about it. You're working minimum 8 hours. It could extend to some jobs to 10, even 12, or 12-hour shifts for some people. You're wasting 12 hours a day on something that you could be completely dedicating, right, for yourself. Whether that's learning a skill, whether that's acquiring a new, some sort of business intelligence, whether that is, thinking about how to make a new business or a product or anything like that, or research. It's 12 hours. Let's be a little bit more conservative. It's 8 hours of wasted time every single day. Now you could come up and tell me, well, no, it's not wasted because I'm exchanging money for my time. Fair enough. But because of the hours that you're putting in your work, in any field that you're in, your mind is drained all day, and you're not able to even think in a calculative, in a relaxed, in a stress-free way after you're done with your 8 hours job. You see, there's a big difference between waking up in the morning fresh, having a cup of coffee, and just sitting and figuring out how to flesh out your idea, your business, your career journey, whatever it is. Okay? And when you're stuck at a desk, working from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, you're not doing any of those things, right? That's number one. That's why I'm saying it's a dream killer. One of the number one is that there's so many hours wasted. The second point, which I kind of alluded to earlier, is that it's very hard to have the same re-energized focus and mental sharpness that you had in the morning. So when you're done with work and you want to kind of maybe think about what you want to do on the side in the evening, you feel lazy. You feel distracted because maybe you have kids, you have a family, you have other priorities that you need to focus on. You know what I mean? So a lot of that comes to play. That's why I mean, we don't have a lot of hours in a day. We need to sleep 7 to 8 hours in a day, minimum. We're working from the 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, minimum. You got 16 hours. People are going to come back and tell me, well, 16 hours, that means you have another 8 hours to work with. No, you don't have another 8 hours to work with, because you have to consider the fact that there's transportation, there's other priorities like kids, family, there are other errands that you might have to run, and boom, your day is gone. You also have a life, you have things, you have a personal life too. So like everybody else has a personal life. So it's a very normal situation. The other problem with the 9 to 5 approach is that it also gives you this fear of losing sustainability. So you're always in this cycle of fear. You're always worried and you're always scared. You're not willing to take chances because you know that there's something stable out there. You know that there's consistent income coming in. You know that this is good for you and the kind of the nature of that job. So it kills your dream because you're worried, because you have that fear of losing that sustainability, that sustained income, that continuous income that you're getting in, the revenue that you're making from your work. So it's not an easy choice, right? That's why I'm saying the 9 to 5 can be a major dream killer, because it instills these things in you that discourages you from discovering your dreams, from discovering your ambition. I mean, think about it. If you sat with yourself for a couple of weeks and you had all that time, I kid you not, you could come up with multiple ideas that you're passionate about, things that you feel like you can work on, sell, and make some money out of. I did that. I sat with myself. I had multiple things that I thought of that I didn't even have the time. I had a job where I was driving for at least 1 hour back and forth to my office, and I work from 8 to 5 or 8 to 4, and then I have to come back. By the time I'm home, I'm drained. I don't even want to think about anything productive. I'm just gone. That's the reality. The reality is, sure, you do have time, but unless you're not engaged with family, with other priorities, with other prior engagements, with maybe checkups with the doctor, you're just mentally not at it. You don't want to do it. You're not excited about it. It's a big difference. And these are the positives that I want to mention, that if you find something that you truly like and focus on, it's gonna give you tremendous rewards, because it's something that you actually decided, you actively decided, this is what I'm choosing, this is what I want to do. And let me be clear about one thing. When I'm talking about the 9 to 5, I'm talking about because here's the thing. Some people are going to be like, well, running a business is a 24-hour thing. That is true for a lot of businesses, right? Some people are going to say, so a 9 to 5 at least gives you a time to cut off. Let me be very clear about something. When you actively choose a different life than the 9 to 5 sitting somewhere, you're choosing something that you actually are excited to do. It's something that you feel it resonates with who you are, and it gives you more time to do whatever other things you need to do. If you are a business owner, and yes, you are going to be somebody who maybe will initially gonna put in a lot of work, at some point you are gonna delegate and hire people, and that will free up so much time in your hand. If you're somebody that values working from anywhere and coming in and doing consultancy or doing freelance projects, you're going to be more motivated, because that freelancing or that consultancy allows you to work from anywhere in the world, remote working, and at the same time it gives you a lot of free time to do other things that you're obviously that you have more passion for as well, including the remote working that you're doing. On top of that, you could also build programs, softwares, systems that generate for you revenue, and all you have to do is just check up. I mean, there are multiple examples of people creating products, online services, softwares that generate revenue, continuous revenue for them, and all they have to do is sit for a couple of hours per week to just make sure things are running smoothly. YouTube automation, another example where people just come up with a few ideas during the week. That's it. They delegate everything. You see what I mean? So when you don't think about the 9 to 5 constraint of being specifically somewhere, when you don't think about the 9 to 5 constraints that you're dealing with, it opens a whole new world for you. And that whole new world gives you avenues and gives you options to do so many different things that you never thought you were capable of doing. And that's the idea. The idea is you have time to think. You have time to sit. You have time to reflect and actually flesh out a framework. And this is something I personally like to do. Whenever I aspire to do something for myself that is within the lifestyle that I want to achieve, which is, for example, working whenever I want to work, waking up whenever I want to wake up, maybe providing some sort of consultancy on a skill, but from anywhere. I don't have to be in the office, right? All of that plays a role into your decision making and finding the work that you want to do, whether it's a career, okay, but a career that isn't connected with a 9 to 5, because it can be something. It can be a career where you contribute whenever you want, at any time during the day, and you decide those hours based on the skills that you're providing, or a business, or some sort of core products that you created. And there are so many examples of people succeeding in these fields today. But all it takes for you to understand the mindset. Now, just to make sure something is something important is conveyed here. I am not by any means criticizing or saying that the 9 to 5 job somewhere is a bad thing. Many people make an exceptional amount of money with their 9 to 5. Heck, lawyers, real estate, all kinds of industries. It's by no means it's a shame. By no means it's a bad thing, right? But what I'm trying to say is a 9 to 5 job, if you are somebody who was aspiring to build a career for themselves in your dream job, or you're in your dream career, if you're somebody who's aspiring to have your own business, if you're somebody who's aspiring to live remotely and be anywhere, if you're somebody who is aspires, and this is the biggest one, aspires to win back your time, especially back your time, meaning working whenever you want to work, producing whenever you want to produce, understanding how your mind and your body and who you are as a person work effectively at its best, whether it's in the morning, whenever it is. When all of these factors come into play, working a specific set of hours every single day does affect you achieving those dreams. It does play a role in diminishing the ability to aspire to those ambitions. And that's the reality. There is no way from hiding from this. You think somebody who's working a 12-hour shift has the mental capacity and has the and to begin with is even in the mood to just come back home and just think about what they want to do or how they want to make the work or business or whatever it is? Do you think somebody who works a 12-hour shift has the time and the mental capacity to come back at home and think about what other business ideas and things that they want to do or for skills they want to learn? No, of course not. And I don't think anyone in this world, and I'm being honest with you, I don't think anyone in this world does not want to have time obtained in their hand. I think everybody wants the luxury of time to spend more time doing things that they love, they're passionate about, to do spend time with family and build bonds and build relationships. I mean, I know somebody who has retired when they're 40 years old just to focus more on their kids, and all they're doing is just making money on income based on the real estate investments that they did in the early 20s to their early 30s. That's it. He doesn't want to be a millionaire, that person. He doesn't care. All he wants is to win back his time, to spend time with his children, and have a good, moderate income that he's receiving from his assets to live with them for the rest of his life. And that's what most people aspire to. Most people just want to have time to do whatever they want to do. And if you're somebody who is in that mold and you've categorized and labeled yourself as that kind of person, you realize that the 9 to 5 is to your detriment. It affects more than it helps. Yes, a 9 to 5 can help you gain money, grow, and that's what I mean by everything has to have a strategy. Everything has to have a plan. If you have a plan where you're going to make money and use that money to build a life away from the 9 to 5, that's good planning. That's a strategy. That's something I agree with. I'm not saying you should eliminate the option of a 9 to 5. Some people will argue and say, oh, you shouldn't have that mindset at all if you want to succeed. I'm a little more balanced compared to that because I understand that life isn't that simple. There are things, there are priorities, there are bills to pay, there are mouths to feed. So you have to figure out a plan within your own context to what works for you. And again, if a 9 to 5 is something that you prefer and is suitable for you, no matter what you feel, I don't think it is. I don't think for most people it is. From what I've seen, it's definitely not. It's not for me. But I also understand that a 9 to 5 is an avenue to grow and create money, and also to use that to have a better life for yourself in a business or whatever it is. So eventually, it's a decision that comes down to you. But if you are somebody that aspires, if you're somebody that has dreams, if you're somebody that has ambitions, the 9 to 5 will always derail you. If you're somebody that dreams about having a life and creating a business for you and having something outside of a 9 to 5, it is an unwavering fact that a 9 to 5 lifestyle will always derail you. It will always affect your dreams. You can't run away from that fact. You got so many businesses, so many business ideas, so many different ways of making money, whether you want to be an influencer, whether you want to be a content creator, whether you want to be someone who runs his own business. There's an abundance of ways of making that money. Just figure out what kind of person you are. And I always say this honestly. everything is contextualized. Everything relates to you, your identity, who you are as a person, what works for you. And if this works for you, perfect. That's the way it should be, and that's the way you should go for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Don't forget to like, subscribe,